Hey guys, at the moment I'm working on a trading strategy using PSAR and MACD indicators that I test for Bitcoin and other currencies on Forex. As you know, I'm using the tool TradingView, and here's our BTC USD, and the first indicator that I will add for this strategy is the PSAR, the Parabolic Stop and Reverse indicator that I will use to define my entry into the trade and also my trailing stop losses. After adding it, you see these points below and above the bars of this candlestick chart. But I will open the settings now for this indicator and modify the look and feel. Okay, I will use circles, a lighter blue tone, and increase the thickness. Way better. Okay, the PSAR tells us, or at least tries to, where the trend is going to change. This means at which bar we should enter the trade. For example, if the point is below the bar, the first point, you will add a buy position. You go long. And if it is above the bar, you take a sell position. You go short. That is the basic principle for entering the trade. So let's try to take a long position at the closing price of this bar here. The price for the stop loss we can drag down to this point. And for the take profit, we use the same amount as for the stop loss. Okay, and now let's see. This trade would have been successful. Simple, right? Perhaps too simple? I'll come back to this in a moment. Okay, this was the long position. Now let's have a look at a short position, in which we are not buying, we are going to sell, because it is indicated by the PSAR that the trend is changing, the prices will go down. So define a short position again at the closing price of this bar, then set the stop loss to the first point and the target accordingly. And guess what? This trade is successful as well. Now, is this magic? Is it always successful? Sorry, but no. Let's have a look at a losing trade. We do the same as before. We go long, set the stop loss, the target, and you see we are losing, and we are losing big. So what's the difference here? Well, for this particular trade, the answer is simple. There's no trend, no up or down trend. This area here is a trading range, but this indicator needs a trend to work effectively. This is the first thing that we have to keep in mind. But how do we know that we are currently in a trend? There are many ways to find this out. Here's a simple way to indicate that we are in a trend. This is why I'm adding an indicator. And I will use a moving average indicator, a so-called EMA, an exponential moving average. I select it, and then you can see it as a graph here in the chart. I set the color to orange and make it a bit thicker. And then I set the length to 50. This means it is now an average over the past 50 days. And now you can see the current trend better. It is slightly going upwards for the regarded range. The next rule is that when you take a long position, the price should be above the EMA. On the other hand, if you take a short position, the candle should be below the EMA. Okay, not bad, but we can protect our decision even better by using another indicator, and this is the MACD. The MACD is a trend following indicator. With that we can see the relationship between two moving averages of a price. When we go to our candle, for that we want to take the long position, and then have a look at the MACD, you see that the histogram is going from negative to positive, and the blue line, the faster moving average, is crossing above the slower one. This also indicates a trend change. Okay, but there's another indicator that I use to support my trading decision, and this is the directional movement index. We have three lines. First, the ADX, this kind of purple line here, which defines the strength of the current trend. And then we have the blue line, which is plus DI, the positive directional movement, and the orange one, that is the negative movement. And here you see the blue line is above the orange line. That indicates that we have a positive trend. Okay, now we have enough indicators that tell us, okay, this looks good, that you're going to buy here, so we define a long position, and yes, this trade would be a winner, but of course there is no guarantee These indicators are just nice little helpers, but as always you have to know what you are doing and why. Okay, so let's have a look at an indicator that I'm developing. It is called Jayanam MACD PSAR indicator. And when you select it, you see that the indicators like the EMAs, the PSAR and some labels are added to your chart. And again, this is a helper, but of course it doesn't guarantee success. Here are some signals when you could buy or sell, and it takes the indicators that we discussed into account. A green label at the bar tells you that at this position buying could be positive. Then we have the white labels where there is a PSAR indication, but some conditions are not as they should be, like the ADX or the directional movement, and then the label is white and you can analyze further. And you guessed it, the red labels are sell signals. We can try this one here. And of course, we see the whole chart. This is historical data, so it's easy to place a trade. But as I said, it's a helper. For each label, for each signal, you should analyze, are we really in a trend? What about the trend of the higher time frame, like in this case, 4 hours or the daily chart? This trade would have been successful, great, but the next one is not, because we are already again in a trading range. And these are things that you have to know and prove. Here's another huge win when going short, but you should enter only when the bar is closed, not before. Because the price could go up in the meantime and then you're already in the market and losing money. Of course the price could also go up after the bar is closed, but the bar itself is an indication after it is closed, and in this case it is a bearish signal. It has a flat top and a big body. Okay, a last tip. You can use the points of the PSAR while the trade is running to trail your stop losses. You adjust the stop loss point by point to reduce your loss when the trade is not successful. Alright guys, I hope you are interested in this topic and in my indicators, because in this case, to provide the scripts, I have to register as a TradingView vendor, so please let me know. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, become a patron or join as a channel member, and I'll see you in the next one.